Hi, I'm Paul Houle, and I'm here to teach you how to use the Ontology2 edition of DBpedia, including how to install it, use it, and tear it down inside the AWS cloud. So first, I'd like to set some expectations on what it will cost to go through the instructions here and how much time it'll take. We charge, together with Amazon Web Services, we charge $1.32 an hour for the smallest size instance and the time when it's actually running. You can stop it, and at that point, it won't cost any more to run. However, you'll still pay a storage cost of about $7.30 a month. If you keep an instance stopped instead of terminating it, you can restart it, and that reduces the boot time from about 90 minutes to 10 minutes. I had to run the instance for 2 hours to make this video, and that cost me $2.38. In this video, I'll take you through a 7-step process to set up, use, and release the resources used by the Ontology2 edition of DBpedia. The first step is to create an account. Then you will log into Amazon Web Services. You'll create a public-private key pair. You'll create a subscription and start an instance. You'll have to wait about 90 minutes for the data to get populated from the snapshot. And then after that, it'll be consistently fast, and you'll be able to make queries with the command line interface and the web interface. And when you're finished with it, we'll show you how to tear the system down so it won't incur any further costs. So the first thing to do is visit aws.amazon.com. And once you do that, they give you a choice of creating an account and then logging in. I'm not going to work you through the process of creating an account, but once you have that account, you can log in to the AWS Management Console and enter your credentials, and then you're logged in and you can go to the next step. The AWS Management Console is a menu of every service that Amazon Web Services offers. This can be considerably simplified because there's just 2 things you need to look at on this screen. One of them is the geographic zone that you're working in. Amazon offers services in a large number of geographic zones. The only thing you really have to do is make sure everything is in the same zone. But as long as you do that, you'll be okay. It makes sense to choose a zone that's close to you geographically because you'll probably experience better network performance. The other thing you'll need to look at is EC2, which is the service for running virtual servers in the cloud. You just click on that, and then you're ready to proceed. Once the EC2 console loads, you're going to click on Key Pairs to start the process of creating a key pair. Next, you'll click on Create Key Pair, and then you'll give your key pair a name. And after that, you will save your key pair to your local computer. This is the only time you're ever going to be able to download the private key, which is the credential you're going to use to log into your instance with SSH in just a moment. Next, you're going to visit the URL you see on your screen. And when you click on Continue, you'll come to the launch screen for this product in the Amazon Marketplace. There are quite a few options you can change, but it's fine to take the default and launch with one click. And after that, you'll see a display that shows the status of your order. There's 2 choices you might want to use. One is the AWS Management Console, and the other one is to click on your software, which I recommend that you do because it'll verify that everything's working all right for you. Sometimes when you use an Amazon service for the very first time, they'll make you go through a verification process. This happened when I used my test account, And like it said, I just had to wait 2 hours, and then the verification was done, and I was able to repeat the exact same launch process and have it work. There's an email to write to if you have problems. Customer service is pretty good at AWS, so like they say, if it takes a little too long, just send them a note. Go to the AWS Management Console, and then you'll make sure you're in the same zone you're in before, and then you'll click on EC2, and then after the EC2 console loads, you'll click on running instances to see what instances you have running. When you first create an instance, it doesn't have a name, so you can give it a name by clicking on the pencil icon and typing a name in. Then you can drag the column headers around a bit so that you can see more stuff on the screen. And you can pull up the lower section to see information about this particular instance. You can use monitoring features that are really powerful, but probably the most important thing that you're going to see here is the public IP address of your machine, which is the IP number you're going to use to log into it. You'll log into the server using the SSH protocol. Most operating systems have their own SSH client, but I'm using Windows, and I'm using an SSH client called PuTTY, which has a really beautiful terminal emulator that's just as nice as anything you'll find on Unix. So you should download PuTTY if you're running Windows, or otherwise get yourself an SSH client. PuTTY comes with a tool called PuTTYgen, which we're going to have to use because PuTTY has a different format for private keys than the PEM file that we download from Amazon. We go into import key, we find and select the file that we downloaded, which in my case is in my downloads directory. So we click on the PEM file, and we hit Save Private Key. We'll save it without a passphrase for now, and I'll save it in my home directory. And now we're all ready to log in. So now I'm going to run PuTTY. And there are three things I'm going to have to configure. One of them is going to be the IP address of the host, which was shown on the detail page for the instance. You fill it in there. And then you'll need to configure the login username, which is going to be Ubuntu, which you click on data and then fill it in the auto log username is Ubuntu. Then you're going to click on SSH, then click on off. Then I browse for the PPK file that I left in my home directory and open, and then open again. And we see a message that says that the database is still initializing and we have to wait to get our login credentials. We go back to the AWS console and we look at the monitoring for a particular instance, we can see the CPU utilization is low, and also input and output to the local disk is also low. We can go to the description of the instance, and there we see the block devices, /dev/SDF is the volume that has our data on it. And clicking on monitoring, we can see that there's a high rate of reads, and that's because our software is forcing AWS to copy data from the snapshot to the actual disk blocks that will host your database. Then I waited an hour and took a look at the volume again and found that the rate of I/O has been increasing. You can see that really well by clicking on the read bandwidth image, which expands to a much bigger image that you can scroll and otherwise learn about what your machine's up to. To start learning how to use it, you should go to the URL that's circled above. Here you'll find step-by-step instructions that parallel these, and also a bunch of queries that you can run and check that you get the right results. So after you've waited a while, about 90 minutes, you log in with SSH, and now you'll see database credentials that you can use to log into the database. The SQL command already incorporates these credentials, so you can cut and paste a query right from the web page to your terminal and hit enter and get your result. To use the web interface, you'll have to remember the public IP address, which is on the description page for your instance. And the server's running at port 8890 at that address with ordinary HTTP. This is the front page. Click on conductor. And then enter your DBA username and the password. Find your password by bringing up your terminal session and looking at the banner message and cutting and pasting it to the web form. After logging in, you should click on Database and then Interactive SQL, which will get you the query interface. This is a SQL prompt, not a Sparkle prompt. So if you want to write a Sparkle query, just put the word Sparkle before it. That's what we've got on our example 2 on our example page. So if you cut and paste that, complete with the Sparkle keyword, and hit execute, wait a few seconds, and then you get the result set, which is a list of all the predicates that occur in DBpedia, ordered by how often they're used, which is a really great starting point if you want to start to characterize what sort of content you expect to find in this database. You can make as many queries against it as you want and run it as long as you like, but at some point you'll want to shut it down, and you can do that by taking instance state to stop or by terminating it. In this case, we choose to terminate it because we want to purge all the resources associated with it, so there isn't going to be any cost at all. If you stopped it, it would keep the data volume around, which would mean that it would boot up in about 10 minutes if you started it. When the instance is stopped, you won't pay any hourly fee. but you'll still pay about $7 a month for storage. We're cleaning up the resources now at the EC2 dashboard. From the dashboard, I just clicked on key pair. The key pair is selected, so I hit delete, then confirm, and then the key pair is gone. It's most important to delete the storage volume because it costs $7 a month. So we click on volumes. The volume's selected, so we click on delete, which is hidden behind a context menu. Confirm, and the volume is gone. So now you know what you need to know to use the Ontology2 edition of DBpedia in the Amazon cloud. Visit the AWS link on this page to get access to the product and also find links to more documentation, or contact us at ontology2.com to find out more about the product.